The void was not silent. It thrummed, a low, guttural pulse that seeped into the bones of the Erebus *, a derelict research vessel drifting in the uncharted fringes of the Orion Arm. Captain Zarrar, his eyes bloodshot and his hands trembling from days without sleep, stood alone on the bridge, staring into the abyss through the ship's cracked viewport. The stars out there weren't right. They flickered, not like distant suns but like eyes, too many, too alive, watching him. He could feel their gaze crawling under his skin, a sensation he couldn't shake since they'd found the anomaly 3 days ago. The crew called it the Shard, a jagged, obsidian structure floating in the void, its surface swallowing light like a wound in reality. Zarrar didn't call it anything. Naming it felt like inviting it closer. The Erebus * had been sent to investigate a signal, a repeating pattern of electromagnetic pulses detected by a deep space probe. The signal was old, older than humanity, older than Earth's oceans, but it wasn't random. It carried structure, intent, a language no one could decipher but everyone felt. The crew had been eager at first, their voices buzzing with theories about alien civilizations, lost technologies, or even a message from God. Zarrar hadn't shared their enthusiasm. He'd seen too many missions go wrong, too many crews unravel when the universe showed its teeth. Now, with the Shard looming outside and the crew reduced to shadows of themselves, he wished he'd trusted his instincts and turned the ship around. The first sign of trouble came when they approached the Shard. The ship's sensors went haywire, spitting out data that made no sense, negative mass, temporal distortions, radiation signatures that shifted faster than the computers could process. Dr. Lena Voss, the mission's lead scientist, had been ecstatic, her eyes gleaming as she pored over the readings. "This is it, Zarrar," she'd said, her voice trembling with awe. "This is the edge of everything we know." Zarrar hadn't replied. He'd been watching the crew, Engineer Patel, whose hands shook as he recalibrated the sensors, Navigator Chen, who kept muttering about wrong stars, and Security Officer Ruiz, who'd taken to clutching a knife like it could protect him from the void. They were all fraying, and Zarrar felt it too, the pressure in his skull, like something was trying to get inside. The second sign was the dreams. They started the night after they parked the Erebus * in the Shard's orbit. Zarrar didn't sleep much, but when he did, he saw things, vast, formless shapes moving through a cosmos that wasn't his, their edges bleeding into each other like oil on water. In the dreams, he wasn't himself. He was something else, something ancient, something that hungered. He woke each time gasping, his mouth tasting of ash, his heart pounding so hard he thought it would burst. The crew reported similar nightmares. Patel said he dreamed of being unmade, his body dissolving into static, while a voice whispered equations he couldn't understand. Chen spoke of a city made of flesh, its streets pulsing under her feet. Ruiz wouldn't talk about his dreams, but Zarrar saw the cuts on his arms, shallow and deliberate, like he was trying to carve the fear out of himself. Voss was the only one who didn't seem affected. She spent hours in the lab, analyzing fragments of the Shard's signal, her fingers flying over the consoles as she muttered to herself. Zarrar caught snippets of her ramblings, phrases like non-Euclidean resonance and transdimensional bleed, but what chilled him was her expression. It wasn't excitement anymore. It was obsession, her eyes wide and unblinking, her lips curled into a smile that didn't belong on a human face. When he ordered her to rest, she laughed, a sharp, brittle sound that echoed in the empty corridors. "Rest," she said. "You don't rest when you're standing at the door to eternity." By the third day, the crew was breaking. Patel locked himself in the engine room, screaming about the math that eats. Chen vanished, leaving behind a star chart scrawled with symbols no one recognized. Ruiz was found in the airlock, his knife buried in his own thigh, whispering, "It sees me." Zarrar sedated him and dragged him to the medbay, but the man's eyes stayed open, staring at something Zarrar couldn't see. The Erebus felt alive in the worst way, its walls creaking, its lights flickering in patterns that seemed almost deliberate. Zarrar stopped trusting the ship's systems. He stopped trusting his own senses. The shard was doing something to them, rewriting them from the inside out. He confronted Voss in the lab, demanding answers. She was hunched over a terminal, her fingers stained with something kink, maybe, or blood. The air in the room was heavy, thick with a metallic tang that made Zarrar's stomach churn. "What is it?" he asked, his voice hoarse. "What's out there?" Voss didn't look up. She kept typing, her movements frantic, like she was racing against something. "It's not out there," she said finally, her voice low and steady. "It's in here, in us. It's always been in us." She turned then, and Zarrar flinched. Her eyes were wrong. Too wide, too bright. The pupils dilated into black voids. "The shard isn't a thing, Zarrar. It's a mirror. It shows you what's real." He grabbed her arm, forcing her to face him. "Stop talking in riddles. People are dying." She laughed again, and this time it was worse. Deep guttural, like something was speaking through her. "Dying," she said. "You think that's the worst thing that can happen?" She pulled away, pointing to the terminal screen. It displayed a waveform, a jagged, chaotic pattern that seemed to writhe as Zarrar looked at it. "This is the signal. It's not a message. It's a reflection. It's us, Zarrar. Our thoughts, our fears, our existence, fed back to us through something that's been watching since before the stars were born." Zarrar stared at the screen, and for a moment he saw it. Not just the waveform, but what it meant. The signal wasn't alien. It was human, or something wearing humanity's skin. Every thought, every doubt, every nightmare the crew had suffered was being amplified, twisted, and thrown back at them. The shard wasn't a structure. It was a lens, focusing something vast and incomprehensible onto the Erebus burning them like ants under a magnifying glass. And at the center of it all was a presence, a hunger that dwarfed galaxies, a force that didn't just destroy but consumed, erasing not just matter but meaning, leaving nothing behind but silence. He staggered back, his mind reeling. "What is it?" he whispered. Voss's smile widened, and for the first time Zarrar saw fear in her eyes. Not of the shard, but of him, of what he might do with the truth. "You already know," she said. "You felt it. The thing that eats worlds, the thing that eats gods. It's not a name, Zarrar. It's a process, a cycle, and we're part of it." She leaned closer, her breath hot against his face. Galactus. The word hit him like a physical blow. It wasn't just a name. It was a weight, a truth that crushed everything he thought he knew. Galactus, the devourer of worlds, wasn't a myth or a metaphor. It was real, and it was here, not as a giant in silver armor, but as something older, deeper, a cosmic inevitability woven into the fabric of existence. The shard was its herald, its beacon, drawing the Erebus into its maw. And the crew, their fear, their madness, their unraveling, was fuel, a sacrifice to a god that didn't care. Zarrar ran. He didn't know where he was going, only that he had to move, to escape the lab, the ship, the truth. The corridors twisted around him, the walls pulsing like living tissue. He heard voices, Patel's screams, Chen's whispers, Ruiz's sobbing, blending into a chorus that wasn't human. The air grew colder, heavier, pressing against his chest until he could barely breathe. He stumbled into the bridge, slamming the door behind him, but the sound followed, a low, resonant hum that vibrated in his teeth. The viewport was his only anchor. He stared out at the shard, its edges sharper now, more defined, like it was growing, reaching for the Erebus. The stars behind it were gone, replaced by a darkness that wasn't empty but alive, swirling with shapes that defied geometry. Zarrar's reflection stared back at him from the glass, but it wasn't his face. It was older, hollow, its eyes black and endless, its mouth open in a scream that never ended. He tore his gaze away, his hands clawing at his face, trying to feel something real, something human. The comms crackled, and Voss's voice filled the bridge. "You can't run, Zarrar," she said, her tone calm, almost gentle. "It's already in you. It's in all of us. The hunger, the need to know. That's what it feeds on. That's what it is." He slammed his fist against the console, shutting off the comms, but her voice lingered, echoing in his skull. He knew she was right. The shard hadn't created their fear. It had only shown them what was already there. The fragility of their minds, the insignificance of their lives, the truth that humanity was nothing but a fleeting thought in the mind of something vast and eternal. He activated the ship's logs, desperate for something to ground him. The screen flickered, displaying fragmented footage from the past 3 days. He saw himself standing on the bridge, staring at the shard. He saw Patel, sobbing in the engine room, carving equations into the walls. He saw Chen, walking into the airlock without a suit, her face serene as the void claimed her. And he saw Voss, alone in the lab, speaking to someone, or something, that wasn't there. "We're ready," she said in the footage, her voice steady. "We're yours." The footage cut to static, but not before Zarrar saw something else. A shadow behind Voss, vast and formless, its edges bleeding into the walls. He froze, his breath catching in his throat. The shadow wasn't just in the footage. It was here now, filling the bridge, pressing against the edges of his vision. He turned, but there was nothing. Just the hum, louder now, and the cold, suffocating weight of the void. He stumbled to the helm, his hands shaking as he powered up the engines. The Erebus groaned, its systems protesting, but Zarrar didn't care. He had to get away, to put distance between himself and the shard, between himself and the truth. The ship lurched forward, the viewport trembling as the shard loomed closer, its surface rippling like liquid. For a moment, Zarrar thought he saw something inside it, a face, or 1,000 faces, each one screaming, each one his own. The engine screamed, and the Erebus broke free, hurtling into the void. Zarrar collapsed into the captain's chair, his chest heaving, his mind fraying at the edges. The shard was behind him now, but the hum was still there, louder, deeper, resonating in his bones. He looked at the viewport, expecting stars, expecting freedom, but the stars were gone. The void was empty, except for a single, impossible shape. A silhouette, vast and silver, its edges shimmering with the light of dying worlds. Zarrar screamed, but the sound was swallowed by the hum. The silhouette grew, filling the viewport, filling his mind, filling everything. He saw it then, not with his eyes but with something deeper. The truth Voss had tried to tell him. Galactus wasn't a being. It was a process, a cycle, a hunger that consumed not just worlds but meaning, purpose, existence itself. And humanity, with its curiosity, its need to know, was its perfect prey. The Erebus drifted, its engines silent, its crew gone. Zarrar sat alone on the bridge, staring into the void, his eyes empty, his mind a shattered mirror reflecting nothing but the hum. He didn't move, didn't speak, didn't think. There was nothing left to think. The universe had shown him its face, and it was hungry. Somewhere in the far reaches of the cosmos, the shard pulsed, its signal reaching out, searching for the next ship, the next mind, the next sacrifice. And in the silence between the stars, a voice whispered, soft and eternal, "You wanted to know, now you do." The moral was clear, though no one was left to hear it. The universe is not a puzzle to be solved. It is a predator, and curiosity is its bait. To seek the truth is to invite the void, and the void does not forgive. It consumes, and what it leaves behind is not human, not alive, not anything at all. Only the hum remains, endless and unyielding, a reminder that some doors, once opened, can never be closed.